thank you everyone for joining me once again. This one's going to be a relatively short one because I really haven't even played episode 4 yet. Woo! There's a reason for this. I'm thinking I'm just gonna buckle the last, I guess the majority of episode 4 and 5 together in the next video. But I had a very, very hard time. I had a very hard time. Like I hit the first choice you have to choose, and it was just. It wasn't emotionally compelling. It was dumb, and that's why we're here. That's why we're talking about it again. Whereas I said before, and I've said this to a couple different people, episode 4 is going to determine whether or not this will be just a really well written game with a lot of problems in it that could be fixed, or it's going to be a bad game. Episode 4 was a determining factor for that. It started out when I first was playing it. The very beginning of it, it was so refreshing. I absolutely love the writing. I love the dialogue in the very, very beginning, and it felt so good. So I was like, oh, it might even make it the opposite. It might be something that even kicks away prior problems. Some prior problems. You ain't getting rid of all of those problems no matter what you try, because you wrote those problems in, son. But no, that's not the case. It went to the terrible side. I'm very, very upset with that. But whatever. Today, we're going to discuss a little bit about why we're going to discuss the actual problem itself in more detail, because that's just dumb. And then we're going to discuss, right now I'm going to discuss with you why do an episodic game. There's two reasons to do an episodic game that's not negative. So basically, there's two reasons why you'd want to do an episodic game that isn't you intentionally sabotaging your own game, or maybe you think you're so egotistical that your game is that good that you could actually you purposely put in things to make it worse, because them people won't get it if you don't make it worse, whatever. But there's two positive reasons to do it. First is, and foremost, I guess positive, subjective for the second one, if you don't have enough money, that's the first thing. If you don't have enough money to make the whole game through, making it an episodic does give you more time and money in game development. It's not substantial. I mean, you're not making a significant amount more money because of it, but you are prolonging the development cycle while reducing costs and stuff. You're doing it so that way you can make money. And there's it's not significant. Like I said, it's not significant money, but you are doing it so that way you can continue to produce at a good quality, rather than continually stretching your budget to the point where it's dead. People go, but you normally work around this by planning your schedule out and planning your budget out pretty significantly, to the point where you would overestimate essentially everything that you could. But whatever. But that's the reason why you'd make it an episodic game, if you don't have enough money to do it in one stretch. The second reason, and this is worse, I guess, it's good for the person, bad for the thanking man, and bad for the consumer, because I guess not bad for the consumer. The consumer doesn't care, but it's bad for if you consciously think about video games and video game development and how video games affect the world, as art affects the world. If you think about it like that, it's not very good. Making an episodic game prolongs its exposure to the world. If you don't know, you got to look at time schedules, and you got to look at how games sell over time and all this stuff. The general life cycle for a video game is about 6 months. Of course this does change, but the average video game is about 6 months. The game comes out. There's pre-hype too, but we're not going to count that. But basically, the game comes out, and 6 months later, that game is gone out of the consciousness of the masses. The average human being doesn't care anymore about, the darkness too. Of course, games that I like, games that I still enjoy, but no one thinks about, the average people don't think about games that are 6 months old and older than that. Basically, you got a 6 months period, give or take some, and the game's just gone. No one thinks about it. No one cares about it. People might pick it up because it's cheaper, or people might pick it up because of this or that, but the mass isn't thinking about it. A game's hype dies in 6 months. Whereas with these episodic games, they actually hold a whole lot more water for a lot longer. I think this game came out was it early February or early January? I can't remember, but it was early. This let's just say it's been. If this continues as it is, which the episode 5 would come out in 3 months since there's a pretty massive delay in episode 4, but whatever. Let's just assume 2 months. So August, September, September, November. Let's say September, November. There you go. September, November. What am I, dumb? October. So let's just say October comes rolling around, and that's when it comes out. So it's been from February to October. What is that? 9 months. See, I'm dumb. I can't count. Oh, good count. 9. So that's 9 months. So 10 months. Yeah, let's just say 10 months just to be nice. So the development cycle for this game, when it's like out, it pushes that from like a 6 months death. It would have died off somewhere May, June, July. Normally, if it hadn't been episodic, people would have forgotten about it. People would have stopped caring about it. Well, October comes rolling around. And it's still coming out. It's got at least another 2 or 3 month period of hype based off of that, and then maybe a couple more, considering the game's actually out at that point. And some people might wait to buy it until it's completely out, because episodic gaming can do that to you. You don't want to wait for it, and there's a good reason for that. And so it builds extra hype. So this game that would have normally died in half a year was going to last for an entire year worth of hype, increasing the sales pretty dramatically from that standpoint. It's horrible to plan your game out that way, to purposefully ruin the pacing of your game in order to garner more hype. But I mean, I guess you got to do what you have to do. If you're not a AAA studio developer, you're underfunded. That's just the point it is. But whatever. Why? Okay, but the problem is episodic gaming. No matter what people think about it, because I tend to present opinions. I tend to present positions, not opinions. Positions that contradict most people's opinions. So, no matter what you think about it, episodic gaming is not good. Unless, of course, you have an amazing game. Unless, of course, you have a flawless game. Episodic gaming inherently hurts your video game. It didn't hurt The Walking Dead for me, because I bought the first season of that well after, I guess, my bad. Well after it would all come out. Like, I think even the DLC had came out yet. It had already came out. It was the point where they were just starting to rev up the second season of it. So that didn't affect me, but it would have made that worse. I would have been forced to sit there and think about the problems in those episodes had it not been. Now, this does change a bit if it's a pure comedy. Like, if it's just stupid comedy, I mean, the writing problems still could be there, but, like, in a serious drama, writing problems show up very easily, because it's all content on it being excellently written. Like, how well the drama comes off, how well, like, emotionally connected you are to the story is completely completely dependent on the fact that that it's, one, well written, and two, it connects with you. So it's all about the writing in that side. On a not serious one, it's just, is it funny? So it's still dependent on the writing, but, like, there could be, like, stupid continuity errors, and that could be part of the joke, or even if it's not a part of the joke, it's a dumb comedy. Who cares if it has continuity errors? If it makes you laugh, it did its job. So, like, that's why I actually got into Telltale's games, Strong Bad, the Strong episodes. Like, I got those into episodically, and I mean, the writing, like, I didn't notice any problems with that. But then again, it's a stupid, dumb comedy that's kind of, each episode is its own thing, so it really doesn't even matter at that point. Whereas Life is Strange is not that. Life is Strange is a very serious, dramatic thing. And so, guess what I have to do? I have to stop after playing part of the game, sit there, and think about all the problems in the game. Because you can't think about the good parts, because the good parts are there, yes, but they're pretty overwhelmed by the bad. Their objective flaws in the writing are unacceptable, and they should be fixed. I was going to do this little skit, but since I didn't even play the 4th episode, I didn't want to. But I looked it up on Wikipedia, not Wikipedia. It was some website. I think it was Wikipedia or something like that. Something along those lines. Where, because I was looking up to see when the next episode was out, and I was getting pictures of stuff. And like there's a whole like thing where they like the developers had talked about how important it was that they didn't spend a lot of money on the graphics, which is I kind of respect that, and they spent all their money on voice acting and writing. I'm hoping that's a lie, because the writing, if you spent any amount of money on the writing, I don't know, I can't, because like this isn't like Food Wars, this isn't like terribly written things. It's just it has there's a philosophy that I learned from a professor that I hated, but he was just mindlessly mimicking it from another professor, so I don't really care. I just heard it from this certain professor, and he says, and the idea behind it is the fact that the more perfect something is, the more perfect it has to be. So if you have a 98 out of 100, like those 2% weigh like if you had a 98 out of 100 video game versus a 50 out of 100 video game, those 2% hold so much more weight than any amount of that 50%. Like the gap there, that 2% there is really, really important. And it really, really affects how the game is viewed. That's because when the better something is, the better it has to be in order to not show its flaws. That's like an artistic mindset that like you can't get around. Like you have to be perfect. That's the problem. That's the argument with perfection. Like how when people say you can't reach perfection, which you can, but it's just infinitely difficult. But like you can't. You've got to know the fact is if there is a flaw, it will. The better the game is, the easier it is to notice. So when I'm playing, I don't know, some random dumb game, like when I'm playing like Dishonored. Yeah, Dishonored. I know a lot of people like that game, but when I'm playing Dishonored and there's just like really stupid stuff in the narrative, I don't really care. Do I really care about Dishonored's like narrative problems? I mean, technically, if I'm critiquing it, yes, but like in just a general sense, like I'm not sitting here making a video about how him wearing a mask to a like him not. You could just got another mask or put a mask on top of the mask you have or something, you know, when he goes to that charade party or whatever it is, matinee party, or it's just put on a new mask. That's all you got to do. Oh, it's just a cruel job. Oh, whatever. But yeah, I'm not making a video about that because it's not that good. Therefore, that flaw isn't as apparent, or it is as apparent, but it doesn't weigh as much. Whereas, I generally liked this game. I still probably generally like this game. I might not. I don't know. I seriously, once I hit that, it's still running in the background right now. I just shut my computer, and it's still running there, and it still says something like, and it's still. I'm stuck on the choice, so it's like I don't know. I haven't actually made my mind up. I haven't made a decision yet, but I'm just kind of discussing how harmful this decision was and how much problems it was. All right, but whatever. But no, that's it. Episodic gaming essentially forces you to it's forcing you in a timeout for 2 months, and so that way you're forced to think about what's going on. That's what episodic gaming is. It forces you to stop and think about it. Of course, you could play other games in the meantime, but that's not how that works. That stuff seeps into your brain. If you use your brain, like if you're just some dumb guy just playing video games, whatever, I mean, you're gonna not care about it anyways. You're gonna play Life is Strange, and you're gonna think it's the greatest thing ever, and there's no problems with it. You know, that's just how people. If that's how it is, then you're dumb and you do it. But for people like me who like to actually think about the things they consume, this is horrid. Like being forced to sit down and just relive everything in your head over and over again until you get your opinion around it properly, until you actually like grasp what you think about it and how that affects you. It's very, very problematic. So that's the reason why I hate episodic gaming. And it's not because, you know, it's like I have to wait. Waiting isn't a problem for me. That's why between sequels, I will wait. If you make a good game, I'll wait. I'll wait 5 years. It sucks. I'd rather not wait 5 years, but frankly, I'd rather have a good game than a quick game. Man, Steam sales happen all the time. I've got hundreds of games I have not even played on my Steam account. I could wait. I have plenty to keep me occupied with all the writing and the work I do, all that, and all the reading, blah blah blah. I've got manga and video games up the wazoo, so it's gonna be all right. But the problem is the fact that I have to sit here and think about this, which increases the amount of frustration. and how critically you have to think about it, because I can't do anything else but critically think about it. So if this was not, I don't know why this was an episodic game. Maybe it's because I can't even remember the name of the developers, but maybe it's because they're like on the poor side of the developers, because I know they're published through Square Enix, but I don't think Square Enix gives them that much money. I wouldn't if I was Square Enix, but because it's not gonna do anything. The Final Fantasy VII remake, which is the dumbest idea I've ever heard in my entire life. The Final Fantasy VII remake is going to make 800 times as much money for them. So it's like what do? Do you try to earn $2 or do you try to earn $2 million? You know, well, I'm gonna try to earn the $2 million. Yeah, so I think it's financial problems for them. I'm hoping, if not, maybe it is the other way, which is again a bit cynical. It's treating your fan base like they're dumb consumers. I guess it's not just stupid. But it's still whatever. It's just, but like that's things. If this was a singular game, it would have been significant. It would actually have been significantly better because I would have less time to react to. I'd have less time to react to like the problems and the fact, like here, no matter how much of a objective problem it is in the narrative, like no matter how much of an objective problem it is with the whole only being 4 bullets in the revolver, and or there should have been 6 bullets in the revolver and I should have shot whatever that dude's name is. Because guess what? You know, that whole time jump thing in episode 4 and the end of episode 3, the beginning of episode 4, that whole time jump thing would have made that irrelevant anyway, so whatever. But like you're sitting there, think about it. You go back in time, you manipulate things, and you save her dad. And you're sucking, you're kind of feeling it, you're feeling joy, you're like, yes, you did this good thing, and then you get hit with the whole, you know, she's crippled now, and you're just sitting there, and you feel gut-wrenched, and this whole time you're going through that, because that thing is going to stick with you, that feeling is going to stick with you as you're sitting there talking with her. You know, you're sitting there, and you experience this moment with her about how she's hurt, and she's slowly dying, and then she asks you to kill her, and that's the problem we're going to get to. I'm sorry if that's a spoiler, but you should know by now. We're 17 minutes into a short video, okay? But like that's what if it had been a single cohesive game, this would have still been a problem, but a problem I would have had much, much less of a problem with. That's a horrible way of saying it. It would have been a problem still, but it would have been a less significant one. It wouldn't have made me stop playing the game completely, because I would have been in it emotionally. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about the differences between objective and subjective bad. That's why when I talk about stuff like that, and I'm like, if you're in it, it doesn't matter how bad it is if you're in it. The game could be the worst game you've ever played in your entire life. But if you're connected to it and you're emotionally involved with it and you're in it, it's still gonna work. That's how that works. It doesn't matter how great the writing is. It doesn't matter how great this or that is. If you're not in it, you're not in it. And if you're in it, you're in it. That's what it is. And that would happen. I would have been in it, because outside of the fact that I immediately thought to myself, I think what happened was the reason why I felt so negatively about the whole time jump thing is because that the fat girl that we spent all that time being nice to, when we changed time, she became a bitch. So, I mean, that's what it immediately got in my head. Like, oh, that didn't matter. What else didn't matter? And I'm thinking, and everything else didn't matter at that point. So that's where I had such a negative problem with that. But that still would have existed. But then we would have hit the emotional roller coaster just coming down the way, and it would have been a significantly harder thing to hate on than it is now. But since I had 2 months to wait, I didn't want to just replay the game so that way I'd have a quote-unquote refresher, because I already remember the game very well. I liked it, I played it, I enjoyed it. But, it's just, I'm just sitting there, and this time, instead of actually being in the moment, which I was in the moment until we hit that question mark, because it would have been a matter of degrees. I would have been in the moment even harder, and then maybe not. Maybe I would still be here, maybe in the same position. But I mean, just saying, it would have been a harder. Like, it would have taken more to get me to the position I am in right now. As Life is Strange is kind of bad, pretty bad written game. But no, so that's what it is. So yeah, so let's talk about the decision. So spoiler warning, a little late, but whatever. It's if don't don't talk in the description, please, because I mean not description in the comments, please, about it, because I still haven't played it. But this is only a spoiler warning for you if you haven't played basically the first 20 minutes of the game of the episode 4. That's about as far as I've gotten. So you're sitting and you're talking with her, you're spending the night with her, you're hanging out with her, and then she asks to kill you, which kind of comes off as a dick move for her. Like, it's the first day you've hung out with your best friend, Chloe. Can you not ask her to murder you? But, I mean, because the thing is here, I'm like, we live together now. Like, we live in the same town. Can't you wait? I mean, can't you wait a little bit? I'm being serious. Can you wait? Like, let me have us be friends, and then ask me when it basically, and then by that time I would have seen your condition more, and then maybe I would have been more inclined to assist you in suicide, because I felt sorry for you and I was close, and like no, but now it's like from Chloe's and modern, or the newest version of Max, I guess. They've had this one instigation. It's like you're clashing all of her nostalgia and childhood feelings against her will to assist you in this. So that just comes off as pretty dumb. And like Chloe is smarter than that, I think. I think if she knows how to do something, it's to know how to manipulate people, and at least like a decent amount. Like for an aggressive punk kid she can manipulate people intelligently. And I think in her alternate state of her being a motionless person, she would have probably been even more so in that matter. Like she would have had a lot more time to think about how to talk to people and noticing things. That's what, if you can't move your arms and your hands and stuff, you look with your eyes more. You notice details more. You notice small things a lot more than you normally would. But whatever. So the choices, right off the bat, is that you either kill or you don't kill Chloe because she's having medical problems. And immediately, I'm very upset by this because you talk about it kind of slightly in the beginning of that episode, but the common idea is the fact that you did this to her. I know technically it wasn't her fault, but you in fact did this to her. You crippled her. Why'd you cripple her? You didn't mean to. It just happened. But you crippled her. So instead of when she's sitting there talking about how much agony she's in and she wants you to end her life, you want to give her agency. You want to give her agency. Like that's what she says. She wants agency for herself. Agency means she wants the ability to choose for herself for once. So she's like, I want you to kill me. It's my choice. I want you to kill me. At that moment, if Max wasn't such an idiot, instead of going, yes, I'm going to kill you, or no, I'm not going to kill you, you should have brought up the third option, the intelligent option, which is, hey, I'm a time traveler. We can fix this. We can... some of this gets more complicated, and the writers tend to make... I don't know if the writers are dumb or not. I don't know. But the writers may be dumb, so let me just put that there. I hope they don't, when they're not listening to this and get offended by this, but, I mean, it's true. I didn't talk for an hour about your objective problems in the last 3 episodes to now sit here and talk about how I can't play the 4th episode because it made me so upset, and it's all based on the very first 20 minutes, but whatever. Alright, so, ignoring the fact that the writers are in fact dumb, because they are, because like just playing it that they're not intelligent and they can't perceive things clearly in advance. They're sitting there with they're sitting there, and just the 2 characters sitting there. At the very least, the characters are not dumb. The characters know that they can. Well, the one character knows Max knows she can modify time. She can go back in time and change things. So at the very least, she could go back in time and she can give her that option. She could literally give her that option to where either I can save your dad and you're stuck in this position you are, because that's what happens, because I can't manipulate things in between these time frames because I wasn't there. So you can do that, or or you could live a healthy life. You can be, you can live a healthy life. You can be an adult. You can be a functional person. Do what you want, but your dad dies. Like that's what you do. You give her that agency. You go through the whole thing where you got to prove to her again that you could time travel, and then it's pretty easy. It writes itself pretty much because you already wrote it. You just have to write it again. Whatever. But what it's whatever. So okay, so basically you give her that option. You give her the agency. You tell her the choices. The choices are you're either stuck in the position you are and your dad lives, or your dad dies and you're better. I mean, kind of. But you're, punk goth girl who smokes pot and does whatever she wants. Cool. But that's it. Give her that agency. She's talking about suicide. She's talking about killing herself because she's just a burden to her parents, and she knows she's gonna die, and she wants to go out on her own terms. Okay, very reasonable. All right. So once she started talking like that, once she started saying things like that, let us move into the appropriate position and naturally discuss what comes next, which is, I'm a time traveler. We can change this. So yeah, you give her those two options, and that's if you're dumb. That's if the writers are dumb, and they are dumb, so the writers are dumb. Things can change in the future, but whatever. But if you had not noticed, because I did in fact notice, if you had not noticed, I hadn't noticed. At the very beginning of the game, she talks about how she never wrote. She didn't write any letters, she didn't make any calls, she didn't do anything. Max. She didn't write any letters to Chloe. So she felt bad about that. When she goes back in time and manipulates time, when she goes back in time and she manipulates the fact that her father dies, Chloe's father dies, she then must apparently remember that she never wrote any letters, and then she wrote letters during that alternate timeline, because she now has letters. So, what she could have done, which is completely fix the problem, which this gets a little bit more into copying The Girl Who Leapt Through Time, but the problem is they're already doing it. They're just not doing it that well. Like, they're picking and choosing what they want from A Girl Who Leapt Through Time, but not taking what made Girl Who Leapt Through Time working properly, because at a point in the middle of that movie, basically gets to the point where she wants to fix everything, and because she fixes everything, she ruins everything with time travel. She really messes up everything with time travel. So, I forgot what I was saying. But you're not doing that. Like, you know what? You could, if you needed to, you could just go straight back through time through the old photograph. And you could either, and instead of, how about you do this time? This is just a mild thought. Write a letter to Chloe and have it sealed, give it to her dad or something, and say, this Chloe has to read this on the day she got the accident. And all it would say is, you're going to have an accident that's going to cripple you. Do not drive anywhere today. That's it. That's all you had to write. And this could create more problems. This could create less problems. This could just do some other thing. But, you could do that. How hard it would be for you to do that when you go back in time? Because if you could throw a guy's keys into the sink to make it short circuit so it can't go off, that, do it. You could do this. You could write a quick letter. Just write a quick letter, put it in the mail, and say, don't give this to her dad, and say, I need you to give this to Chloe at this date. You need to trust me on this. This is important. That's all you have to do. That, and that would fit better with you stealing all your plot lines from A Girl Who Leapt Through Time, because it fits in that way. It's intelligent, because why would not Max want her friend? Why would she not want to be friends with someone? Why would she actively say, no, I want to kill my friend, or I want her to suffer? Why wouldn't Max want to change it? So, I think that's where the biggest problem came from me. The biggest problem came from me is this choice said so much about the writers and how little they cared about the drama. About how little they cared about the not authenticity, just the overall quality of the writing. Because it's so easy to think of options. It's so easy to think of options, and it's so fast to think of options that if I was Max, I would have done. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. It's so stupid. Whatever. So, but like the reason why this problem hits me so hard is the fact that modifying the time, unless she takes it, like, again, unless she reverts time all the way back to its natural timeline. She goes all the way back to the natural timeline. She goes completely back to the natural timeline. Unless she does that, everything that happened in the first few episodes don't matter. I already talked about this in the last episode, I'm pretty sure, but, whatever. So everything that has happened in this game so far that I enjoyed is gone. And a lot of the problems I had weren't like bad drama, because I could see why people would get invested with them, but it's just poorly written drama. It was drama for the fact that it was just drama that was meant. It's not meant to be good. I don't know. It's such a weird way of saying it, but it's just the drama isn't as good. It was just poorly written, surface level drama that really doesn't get to the heart of the meat of it. And once you think about it, it kind of crumbles apart. But at least I got it. I understood it. It was lazy drama. That's what it was. But it was still drama. This choice, however, is no drama. It's negative drama. It's no emotions. There's no polygons in it. Yeah, that's why. The reason why it's titled Blue Balls, and this is the reason why. And because that's what it did, is because it gave me blue balls. It gave me such blue balls. Because I'm sitting in here and I'm enjoying this thing, and you're talking with her about the difficulties, and you're sitting there coming to terms with the fact that your actions caused her to get crippled. And then, like, you hit this question, like, where she's just, Chloe's like, please kill me, where it comes up, it's poorly timed. Please kill me. Yeah, you totally would. Just, we just met, it's poorly timed when Chloe brings this up. It's poorly to handle the conversation that happens between it. And then Max's reaction to it is so stupid. Like, I get the fact that she might, like, but you've had it essentially a day now. Well, I guess not a day. You had, like, 8 hours. But you've had a significant amount of time to deal with the fact that this is happening. You need to think rationally about this. You were literally trying to solve a woman's murder who was possibly killed, raped, and all kinds of other things, Like, you need to, like, you've been having your, like, intelligent hat on most of the time, except for whenever you were doing your whole dweeb, I'm still a kid kind of thing. Like, when we hit it, it was just, you need to choose, Max. You gotta kill me or you don't have to kill me, You're sitting there choosing. And it's just, it sucked up everything. Like, Yahtzee talked about with, whatever, I can't even remember. It was that one platformer, that new platform game that came out that a lot of people liked. It was, like, all the drama, that, all the, like, the sadness and the emotional connection with the game. With the ending of that game being so sappy and, superficial, like, all the drama just sucks right back up into you, and it's gone, and you feel dissatisfied because you're like, oh, it wasn't worth anything. He said that, and I think his Amnesia, the Machine for Pigs review, and his that Owly something of the Forest. It was a platformer game. I really want to play it. But he said it both those, and this is exactly what happened. I was feeling it. I was in the emotion. I was in the moment, and I was enjoying it. And then this question came up, and it because of how it was presented and how poorly it was written, it literally sucked all of the emotion out of it. So that's why I'm blue ball, because I didn't get any emotional. I was immediately put off. I didn't get any emotional satisfaction, and I was so upset with it. I was just like, eh. It was a blue balling event. Beyond blue balling events. So I don't know. I don't know what to say about this. I hate being right. I really do, because I'm rarely ever predicting things are going to be great. And if I do predict things are going to be great, they turned out to be wrong more often than not. But I hate being right. I absolutely hate being right, because it's generally me calling something bad. And I was sitting here thinking about this. And I was sitting there talking about this series. I'm like, and I predicted so much that already. So I know I predicted episode 4 hard. I predicted all the things in episode 4. Like, well, not the things that's going to happen, because I don't care anymore. But like, just the plot devices and how drama is going to be used and all that fun stuff, because historical patterns are historical patterns for a reason. I don't know. I wish people would just pay me. I mean, you don't have to pay me to write. Just pay me a little bit, and I'll look over your scripts just to point out logical flaws. I mean not logical, but objective flaws. That's all. I mean, we can argue about subjectivity all day long. We really can, and I will. Trust me. The worst manga I've ever read, which just came up, which was Food Wars. That's a horribly subjective. That's a horribly, horribly terrible work, but it's based off subjective tendencies from me. There are writing flaws in it that are dumb, but whatever. But it's not Terraformers, where it's just a wreck of it's disrespectful to writing in general. It's not just, hey, everything's bad and I don't like it. It's just it's disrespectful to writing. It does things against the art form of writing. So that's what it is. I mean, this thing had plenty of objective problems in it. Like, this series had plenty of objective problems in it, but I never thought of them as I would ever be too upset to no longer be emotionally involved anymore, And that's, I feel sorry about that, because it was like I started the game up and it was so refreshing. Like, the dialogue, and it was like the way they handled topics and stuff. I was like, I felt so good about it. I liked it so much. And then it's just gone. I don't know. I like it, because I know people talk about how it's about how the game's written poorly. They talk about how the dialogue, and it's people don't say hella and all this other stupid stuff. But the thing is, and the beautiful thing I love about it, people don't get the fact that you don't have to say the literal same words that kids say in order for you to relate to how kids talk. You just have to say it in the ways they say it. It doesn't matter if the words are the same. Are they saying it in the same contextual ways? Are they saying it in the same manner? Are they using the same mannerisms? Are they that's it? And that's the thing I love about this, because this is how kids talk. I know. I feel like an old guy. I'm only 25, but I feel like I'm 80. Because it's just the Vine culture and all the new memes and stuff. It's just all that stuff I just can't get into. More or less, not because I'm an old fart, but more because I value intellectualism. And basically, memes and Vine culture, and the Vines, I guess Vine culture is close enough. But all that stuff does is it takes a single joke and run it into the ground until that joke is no longer funny. So rather than everyone one-upping each other, it's everyone copying each other, which is, I guess. There's still probably that petty nature in there, but with everyone one-upping each other, or attempting to one-up each other instead of copy each other, you at least produce good content, When Microsoft is trying to be better than Apple, or Apple is trying to be better than Microsoft, you get good competition and you get innovation that's intelligent out of it. When everyone says the same thing, when everyone's just trying to copy off each other, that's what it's now. All movies are trying to copy off each other. We could spend hours and hours talking about that, and how absolutely factually true that is. How all video games and movies and manga and anime are just trying to copy each other. It's depressing. It's really depressing on an artistic level, because it's just But But the fact is, I've seen enough. I really do like Vines, even though I hate Vines. But I like watching Vine compilations, because it lets me get to know what people think what people think is popular, rather than having to dig through all that crap myself. And but it's the same thing. It's the same generic crap all the time, and it's people copying each other. And there's only a few sparks of genuine imagination and wonder. There's some beautiful things in it, but most of it's just not good. And that's what it's so reflexive of humanity as of now. We're all trying to do what everyone else is doing to fit in and be popular, and only a few people are trying to genuinely progress humanity and genuinely progress ideas and thoughts and stuff like that. And that's what it is. People might not say hella in real life. I don't know what kids say. Kids are dumb. I don't care. I've spent my entire adult life trying to tell other adults that they're retarded and they need to think about the things that they consume. That's what I've done my entire adult life. That's it. That's all I've accomplished so far, is just progressively getting better and better and more meticulous, and against, I guess, more angry and yelling about it, that what you consume and what you like is making you stupid, and we need to just, stop it. That's my entire adult life, so I don't even care about that. But the fact is, people our age, people my age, I'm 25, people my age and younger say things that sound incredibly similar to what is being said in Life is Strange. And it's just, I can't, people talk about that. People say that's funny, like, kids don't use those words. I'm just like, yeah, maybe, sure. Because you're totally in it. Like, you are one of those cool kids that are popular with every clique in the entire country. You're not just like some Johnny Cool kid, like that's like the most popular kid in the school of 1,000. No, you're the most popular kid of 100 million. Yeah, you know what everything's going on. But no, it's just, they say similar things like this. And though the hipsterness and the pretension does bother me at times, at least it feels genuine. It feels like someone would actually say that. Say things like that, it's just, I don't know. It's just, we come from, when I started the game, I loved it so much, and it felt so genuine. And that's the main thing I want to try to get across, is that it felt genuine. It felt really, really good. I loved it. I really, really enjoyed playing through it, because it felt like I was listening to real people talking. Pretentious kids talking, sure. Kids talking about art, which is problematic because they're dumb. Art students can't talk about art because art students are dumb. So why would these kids be able to talk at students? Whatever. Like, there was probably a lot of problems with it, but it felt genuine. It felt like I knew some of these people. Like, it felt like if I could find a Chloe, it felt like I could find a Max somewhere. And then we hit this moment, and it's just, there's nothing to do. There's nothing I can do about it other than just sit and understand that I have been severely separated from the game. And so, I guess at this point it's just another dumb game that I've been playing, so whatever. Well, we'll wait. We got 3 months until episode 5 comes out, so we'll talk about episode 4 and 5 together. Maybe that'll be like a 4-hour-long video, who knows. Well, whatever. Thank you for joining me, and I'm sorry this was such a downer video, but hey, that's life.